You know, when I started this channel, I made it my very goal to review every Pixar movie, and the second video I ever did was A Bug's Life. And I even have a follow-up to that video saying that I believe that it is the best Pixar movie ever created. But that film went through a lot of production hell, not only because at the time people really just wanted Toy Story 2, which didn't come until later, but also because there was a massive feud between that film and this film. Dreamworks, Antz. Coming out literally 2 months before A Bug's Life and having a lot of similarities, there is a lot of controversy surrounding this movie and how it got made. And I haven't watched this film in so long. It was also the first Dreamworks animation film, so naturally I wanted to look at this film again as an adult and talk about some of those controversies as well. Hi there, it's me, the Average Critic. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more great content on all things animation, and let's talk about Antz, how Dreamworks got started. So Antz is about a worker ant called Z who struggles with feeling part of a collective in his colony, and he struggles to feel like an individual. Sound familiar? Yeah, you better get used to that. So in this film, the ants get sorted into two groups, worker ants and soldier ants. The small and diggers are the worker ants and the big tough ones are the soldiers. And being ants, they all work together in formation to work together and build their colony, which is something I really liked given how ants are really like that in real life. They work like one sentient organism, and if you learn about it, it's actually pretty cool. See? Learning can be fun, kids. Whereas the film A Bug's Life is much more visually colourful and relies on visual gags and simpler jokes, Antz is much more mature with its jokes being more satirical and even political at times, which even though I prefer A Bug's Life, I enjoyed the jokes coming out of this movie. But due to its more mature look, it does make this film look surprisingly ugly to look at. Bright colours are left in favour of more realistic setting with darker colours and tones. The animation, while at the time is fine, it hasn't aged incredibly well. It's not bad, but it's certainly not great, as A Bug's Life still looks good to this day, but this film sometimes looks like a PlayStation 2 cutscene. Anyway, so Z isn't happy and we get introduced to loads of different characters, including Weaver, who is Z's best friend and is voiced by none other than Sylvester Stallone, who is literally Sylvester Stallone in ant form. I love that they clearly thought, who's the biggest, toughest actor right now? And they literally just made Sylvester Stallone in ant form.
I gotta do what I gotta do.
There's General Mandible, who makes this whole film a war movie with his gruff and warlike exterior, making me want to go out there and make my country goddamn proud.
Damn the torpedoes, or give me death.
There's also Princess Barla. Wait a minute. Princess Barla? Let me take a look at that Bug's Life cast list and characters again. So in A Bug's Life, it's Princess Atta, and in Antz, it's Princess Barla. They're not the same, but it's like they went, A Bug's Life has Atta, what can we have?
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
But yeah, Princess Barla is annoyed because she's the queen and she doesn't get to have any fun. Oh yeah, surprise, surprise. The royal woman with all the power and the money isn't satisfied with her life. God, it's like when celebrities complain that they didn't get paid as much as their co-stars, when they literally get paid millions of dollars. But this brings me to my next point, in that every character in this movie is horny as fuck. Weaver hates being a soldier because he doesn't get to hang out with any women. Princess Barla, not Atta, goes to a bar just to tease the workers and gives Z massive blue balls, causing him to be horny as hell, and seeking to find her out trying to get laid, so he switches places with Weaver, causing this scene to happen.
You feeling any more and you'll explode. Hey, you got a problem?
And a thorax.
Yes, I see what you mean.
If you don't have anything else planned.
I'll check my calendar. You know, I'm kind of glad Z's taking a breather.
I mean, what is that music? I would like to say that for 1998, it's nice to see the opposite of the male gaze and see a woman gazing at a man. But yeah, Weaver is horny as hell, and Azteca looks at Weaver like he's a living lollipop. But the amount of sexual innuendos in this film is insane, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for mature content in my animated films, but there's a difference between some mature themes and a film that is a step under a softcore porn movie. But given all that, the performances are really good in this movie. I know there is some strong controversy surrounding Woody Allen, and I'm not really here to talk about that, but he does do a great job at voicing Z. Christopher Walken plays Cutter, and I can't think why he hasn't done much more voice acting work, because with a voice like that, you can't complain.
If you don't deliver, let me tell you something. I made gravy out of your little girl.
But the film's mature themes don't end there. The first half of this movie is a full-on war movie. With all the blood and guts there are scenes in this movie that are straight out of Saving Private Ryan. We have a very violent battle scene with Z even talking to a severed head, which I know is meant to be smart given that he's an ant, but I can't help but think...
That is a man's head.
But the violence in this movie is crazy. The war scenes, the way the general speaks, even the way we have this sound at the very end of the movie when the general dies. Jesus Christ! That is horrible! Let's listen to that one more time. I mean, we didn't need that sound, or to even see that, but Christ! I know he was the bad guy, but Jesus! This more mature way of showing this movie is all good, but there is some things that I really don't need to see. But the film's themes of individuality and standing out echo throughout the whole movie, and it is a theme I like, even though it's something I've seen before. But despite the film coming out 2 months before A Bug's Life, there was an entire lawsuit between Dreamworks and Pixar, after Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was chief executive officer at Disney, left after a feud with Michael Eisner, and while looking online, it is never fully confirmed who came up with the idea of these films. Most of the evidence points towards Jeffrey Katzenberg stealing the idea from Pixar to work on Antz, but looking online, there is no clear answer on who came up with the idea, but the similarities are mind-blowing. Z and Flick have very similar character traits. I don't need to talk about Princess Bala and Atta, and its themes on individuality and working together are insane. The only difference is Antz is more like a war movie, and A Bug's Life is more like a samurai movie given its inspirations of the Seven Samurai. I think we can all agree A Bug's Life did it better. I think if the films weren't 2 months apart when coming out, we wouldn't think too much into the similarities, because there is enough differences. The humor is insanely different. I think if the film didn't have such dark and quite gritty, ugly animation, I would probably enjoy this film more. The voice cast is insane, and I would love to see more of Christopher Walken and Sylvester Stallone in voice acting, as they both did very well. It's odd to think that this is where Dreamworks animation started, not only because this film isn't the greatest film ever, but because of this film's insane controversy. I've really started to warm up to Dreamworks films more in the past few years, so even though they had a very rocky start, it's good to know that they do their own original projects with their own unique styles of filmmaking. But Antz feels more like a fever dream because of its comparison. I remember even back in the day, people asking if they had seen Antz. Most people replied with, "Isn't that just the bad version of A Bug's Life?" Perhaps in another universe, Antz is favored more than A Bug's Life. But for now, in this universe, I'll stick with the Pixar variant. So after all that, it's getting my professional rating of 6 out of 10. And my personal rating of 5 out of 10. I think it would get a better score if everyone wasn't so gosh darn horny. That, and if this sound wasn't in it. So thank you for joining me in this video. Let me know what you thought of Antz in the comment section below, and if you prefer this film to even A Bug's Life. And if you do, you may have to explain why, as I'm sure there are people out there that definitely prefer this film. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more great content on all things animation. I see that 96% of my views come from people that aren't subscribed, and that's really sad. Subscribing really helps me out, guys, so I really do appreciate it. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms, and I will see you all in the next one.